That was the black Lexus. That was not the taillight.
Oh!
Sergeant Barrows, is this the condition of the right rear taillight when you showed up at the Reed household on January 29th, 2022?
Absolutely not.
What's different about this photo, sir?
That taillight is completely smashed out.
Oh! And spoiler alert, that's not what he saw. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to Buckle Up, It's the Law with attorney Larry Forman. Folks, today we're going to be covering Nicholas Barrows. For those of you who have been longtime fans of the channel, you already know that I have a separate playlist for Nicholas Barrows. Nicholas Barrows was actually a direct examination done by Lally last year with no cross-examination done by the defense, which was very unfortunate because he actually had a lot to offer to the defense last year, and I think the defense just didn't even really realize how important and vital he is until much, much later, and that is why they called him this trial. Mr. Barrows, Officer Barrows, you, sir, we salute you. Thank you so much for being honest and not letting the Canton, Norfolk, Boston, whatever politics, BS get in the way of the truth of your testimony. For those of you who don't know what I mean, oh, you're about to find out. This is one you do not want to miss. So don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in a few seconds. Let's go.
All the way back to 2:30.
2:30 is when he first called me and said that they were coming to Dighton to retrieve a vehicle that occurred in a homicide in Canton.
And you understood that to mean what? Retrieve a vehicle?
Seize.
Thank you. What was your role once you arrived at the scene at the Reed household?
My role was Trooper Michael Proctor asked me to facilitate a tow to tow that vehicle.
Was that a private tow company?
Yes.
And when you say facilitate a tow, what does that mean?
He asked who we used for towing vehicles, and during that period of time, it was Diamond Towing.
Did Diamond Towing ultimately show up, a representative of that
They did.
tow company with a tow truck?
Correct.
A flatbed?
Yes.
Who was with Trooper Proctor when you arrived at the scene?
Sergeant Buchanan.
Had you ever met Sergeant Buchanan before?
Never.
Did you know him?
Nope.
Do you know him professionally or personally?
Never.
Had you ever spoken to him?
Never.
Ever? I'm so sorry. It's getting late in the day, and I guess I'm going too fast. Sorry, my fault. Let's start that just a little bit slower. Did you know him?
No.
Had you ever spoken to him before?
No.
Had you ever heard his name before?
No.
No relationship whatsoever?
None.
Same with Trooper Proctor?
Correct.
Once you arrived at the residence, did you have an opportunity to see the vehicle that was the focus of Trooper Proctor and Sergeant Buchanan's attention?
Yes, once I arrived and I parked my cruiser at the end of the driveway, I observed a black Lexus SUV in the driveway.
What were you driving?
I was driving a Ford F-150 police cruiser.
A police cruiser that's a Ford F-150?
Correct.
They have those?
Yes.
Cool. Were you in full uniform?
Full uniform.
Gun, badge, the whole works?
The whole works.
Did you ever go inside the house?
Briefly.
What was the circumstance of going inside the house?
I went inside to let the troopers know that the tow truck operator was there, and I also went in to ask how we're going to get the tow truck into the driveway because there was about a foot of snow.
Okay. That sort of answers my next question. Did you see whether or not Trooper Proctor and Sergeant Buchanan actually did go inside the residence?
Yes, they did.
For the bulk of the time that they were in the residence, where were you?
Outside the residence.
Were you with the black SUV?
I was in the garage speaking to the defendant's mother.
The defendant's mom?
Yes.
Janet? Okay.
Yes.
Where was the SUV at this point?
In the driveway.
Did you have an opportunity to see the SUV?
I did.
Did you walk all the way around it?
Not all the way around.
Did you see the rear end of it?
I did.
Did you make note of the rear end of it?
Yes.
How long would you say you were at the location in a position to observe the rear end of that SUV? 2 minutes, 20 minutes, something in between? Longer?
I would say not the entire time that I was there, but a good amount of time.
More than a glance.
Yes.
This is the afternoon of January 29th, 2022, correct?
Correct.
Before the vehicle had been seized formally by Trooper Proctor and Sergeant Buchanan, correct?
Correct.
Did you observe anything of note about the rear end of that black SUV?
Yes, I noted in a report that there was damage to the taillight.
Can you describe for the juror, by the way, which taillight are we talking about?
The right rear taillight.
Here we go.
Can you describe for the jurors what you noted in terms of the damage to the right rear taillight?
I noted that the report said that there was right rear damage to that taillight.
When you say damage, have you ever described that damage previously?
I have.
Can you tell us what that
Yep.
description is?
There was, it was damaged, the taillight was damaged, but there was a crack missing, but it was not completely damaged.
Ooh.
When you say there was a crack, do you mean there was a piece missing?
A piece was missing.
Can you describe for the jurors kind of what that piece looked like, how big it was, how small, the shape, as you would call it?
The piece was about maybe this big,
Is that maybe the size of a dollar bill, maybe 6 inches?
6 inches.
And
or so.
how wide?
Maybe that wide, maybe 3 inches, 2 inches, somewhere
Okay.
in there.
I want to show you a photo. Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would like to show Exhibit 13.
We're going to play a compare and contrast game, I bet. Jackson is going to show him a photo of the taillight as it was seized in evidence after it was taken off the Lexus. And he's going to ask, is that what it looked like at the time that you were on scene getting the SUV towed? And spoiler alert, that's not what he saw.
It's been previously marked.
I like his suit.
Do you see what's depicted in this photograph?
I do.
What does that appear to be, just generally?
The right rear taillight,
Of what?
the Lexus SUV.
Is that consistent with the black Lexus SUV that you saw at the Reed residence?
That was the black Lexus. That was not the taillight. The day I was
Oh!
Can you do me a favor, Mr. Wolk? With the court's permission, could we zoom in on the right rear taillight, please?
Okay.
Do you see the condition of that taillight as it's depicted in this photo?
there. I do.
Sergeant Barrows, is this the condition of the right rear taillight when you showed up at the Reed household at around 3:15 in the afternoon on January 29th, 2022?
Absolutely not.
Oh!
What's different about this photo, sir?
That taillight is completely smashed out.
Oh!
Does it appear that there are additional pieces of taillight that are removed from this taillight condition than when you saw it at the Reed residence? Objection.
Sustained. Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Of course. Describe specifically, other than the fact that it's different, describe in detail for the jurors
How?
what is different about this
Yeah.
taillight as it's photographed here.
That middle section was intact when I was there. Towards that right side, where that large chunk is, that's what was missing.
I'm going to hand you a green laser pointer.
Wow.
If you can,
Explosive.
There's two displays, one monitor directly in front of you and one to your right. If you could use the one to your right, it's a little easier on the jurors. Describe what's different about that taillight.
Can you see that? So this area was intact.
Oh!
This is what I saw was missing.
Wow.
May I approach?
Yes.
Holy crap. That is like 90% of the taillight. Like, I remember his testimony from trial number 1. I remember he said it was cracked, but we didn't know, like, specifics. Now, for the first time, we get the specifics. So if this is the whole taillight, this part right here was intact. It's only this piece right here that was missing. Maybe for you guys, it's going to be flipped like this, since the camera is inverted. But essentially, this is all missing now, and it used to be intact. It was only this piece right here that was missing. Holy crap.
If the entire taillight had been broken out as it's depicted in this photograph, would you have made note of that?
Sustained.
Do you believe you would remember if the taillight, well, let me ask it a different way.
You got it, Jackson. You got it.
The piece that you saw missing, but not completely damaged, is the reason that you use the phrase not completely damaged to highlight the fact that there was still more taillight attached to the vehicle than is depicted in this photo.
Sustained.
That was a
You can
good
take this
question.
down.
That was a good question. The jury got it, Jackson. I think you
As
can.
you sit here and recall back to that, your observations, and you observed this for over the course of how long would you say? How many minutes?
Probably 20 minutes or so.
You actually wrote a report about this, correct?
Correct.
And you documented your observations, correct?
Correct.
In your documented observations, did you use the phrase cracked but not completely damaged?
I did not.
Sustained.
You've testified previously,
I have.
about a year ago.
Yes.
Did you use the phrase cracked but not completely damaged then?
The objection sustained.
Why?
Mr. Jackson.
It's a reverse impeachment.
Ultimately, was the black Lexus SUV towed and cleared from the scene?
It was.
Is it your responsibility or part of your responsibility to log the time that things like this happen, like, for instance, the SUV is taken away?
When I clear from the scene, yes.
What time was that when you cleared the scene?
I believe it was 4:17 p.m.
That's oddly specific.
Suffice it to say that SUV was not seized at a later time, correct?
Correct.
It was not seized at 5:30 p.m.?
No.
I'd like to show you another exhibit, if I could. This is Exhibit 105.
Oh my God, this is gonna be like so amazing in closing when Jackson gets up there and says, "It was Michael Proctor who tampered with it. He called her names. He pinned it on her. It was Michael Proctor this, Michael Proctor that. He tampered." They can throw everything on Proctor now because Proctor is a ghost. It's a lot easier to attack a person who's not there. That's why, like, when something goes wrong with the country, everybody just blames the president because it's easy. It's like the president did that, you know. You always want to have a target. And in this case, the target is going to be Michael Proctor. Mark my words, in closing, Jackson is or whoever's going to do the closing. I don't know if it's Yannetti, Alessi, Jackson, whoever. Jackson did the opening. Last time Yannetti did the opening, Jackson did the closing. So maybe now Jackson's doing the opening and Yannetti will do the closing. I don't know. I don't know how they're planning this. Or maybe Jackson will do both. I don't know. The point is, Proctor is going to catch a lot of heat in closing. And I think the jury is going to believe Barros. There's no reason not to believe him. There is no reason not to believe him. He seems credible, honest, sincere. I wonder if I'm going to do any of his cross-examination by Brennan in this one. We got the most important piece, but there's more. There's a few more minutes of testimony to cover.
Do you recognize this scene generally?
I do.
Do you recognize it as being, what do you recognize as being?
This is the Reed residence.
Do you see some vehicles in that still shot of the video?
I do.
Describe what you see.
That tow truck is Diamond Towing, and that other vehicle that's at the rear of that tow truck is the Lexus SUV.
If we could, with the court's permission, zoom in. It's high on the screen, correct?
What's that?
The vehicles are high on the screen as we're
Correct.
looking at it. Could we zoom in to the top left portion of the screen?
Okay.
Can we play this video?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh my
Can you
God.
see what's depicted in the still image of that video right now?
I can.
I'm going to ask you if you'll turn to your right, concentrate on this area. This area here. Do you see what's depicted in that still image?
I do.
Does that appear to be a taillight?
Yes.
Does it look clear? Does it look like it's shining red?
Looks clear.
The portion that is intact, does that appear to be brighter red?
Correct.
And the photograph that I just showed you a second ago, is that red portion there?
Can you rephrase that?
Sure. Let's go back. You see the red?
Yes.
All right. Is that the condition of the taillight as you saw it on January 29th around 3:15 or 3:30 when you got to the location?
It was.
Let's go back to the other exhibit, please.
Wow. Oh, wow. Doesn't get much better than this,
Can you
folks.
zoom in, please.
It does not get better than this.
And you see that this entire area is now missing?
I can.
Sustained.
Too late. Jury heard it.
Sure. The area that I'm circling here, do you see any red lens in that area?
No.
Oh, my
Is that
God.
consistent, this photograph consistent with the condition of the taillight as you saw it on January 29th, 2022, at just after 3 o'clock in the afternoon?
Absolutely not.
Nope. I love how he's doing the absolutely not of the, did he go in the house? Absolutely not. I wish he had, though, because then he wouldn't been killed by Karen. Ma. Woo! I'm getting chills.
Thank you.
Ah, here we go. Cross. Short cross. 2 minutes. 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Have we met before?
We have not.
Do you still work in Dighton?
I do.
Wait, what? Brennan? Oh, right. Because Lally direct examined him in the first trial, and that was a mistake. That was an oopsie daisy because Lally didn't prepare enough. He didn't know Barros was going to absolutely annihilate his entire case. But back then, the defense didn't know how valuable Barros is. Now they do. Like I said, that's why they called him. However, Brennan, out of the gate, have we met before? No. I never intended on calling you because you are a crapbag who is betraying his fellow officers. Fake blue wall, fake blue wall. And Barros is like, what's that? Never heard of it.
At the time you went to the lead residence, you did not know the occupants?
I did not.
Since then, have you ever met or spoke to William Reed
Nope.
or the defendant?
Nope.
When you went there that day, it was at the request of the state police?
Correct.
When they asked you to come, it's a typical procedure for one law enforcement agency to contact local law enforcement agency?
Correct.
And part of the reason they do that is to bring in separate and independent law enforcement officer to the scene
Yes.
because it's your jurisdiction.
Correct.
And they called you before they got to Mr. Reed's house, didn't they?
Yes.
They told you what they were going to do and when they were going to do it.
Yes.
They didn't just show up at the Reed house and then you found out later. They invited you and informed you what the process was going to be.
I wouldn't say that they told me what the process was going to be.
When you got there, were the troopers already there or did they arrive after you?
The troopers were there.
Were they in the house or outside of the house when you got there?
They were outside in a pickup truck.
Did you see them get out of the pickup truck after you got there?
They got out after I identified themselves.
Did you ever see them approach and touch the rear taillight of the defendant's Lexus?
I did not.
Did you ever see them manipulate in any way that rear
Not
taillight
there.
of the defendant's Lexus?
I did not.
Did you see them do anything that was suspicious, inordinary, or unfairly remarkable relative to that car?
I did not.
When they spoke...
Why? But those questions are meaningless, Brennan, because all of that happened later in the Sallyport. Remember, what's her name? Dever and her testimony? She admitted, yes, she retracted it. Nobody cares about your retraction, lady. You admitted that both Higgins and the chief walked in for a suspiciously long period of time. That's what you told the FBI agents. You spoke the truth. You did not protect them. You later decide to recant and protect them. But at the time, you accidentally blurted out the truth. And now, with Barros' testimony, your testimony, the jury has the full picture. The taillight, at the time of towing, intact, minus one piece missing on the right-hand side. That's what Barros had to offer. Then it arrives in Canton. Mysteriously, now we have glass on the bumper. The jury knows that. And now there's a giant chunk missing, which was there before. Now they don't have to trust his testimony anymore. They just saw it. They saw it. They saw the video of the taillight. independent, unbiased, unedited, has no stake in the game video. So they know the taillight was intact, and now they are convinced the taillight was manipulated later. But now they're going to be confused. So how did they find all these taillight pieces? Oh, they must have been put there, huh? Ooh. What do we do with that information? But she was drunk, but the taillight pieces magically appeared, so they planted them. Did they plant them? Oh my God, the jury's going to think. They planted evidence. But then who? They're covering for somebody. Who are they covering for? Is it the guy in the house? It must be. They never called anybody from the house. They never called him out. They never searched the house. We know all of that as the jury, right? In this trial. And then the chief of police and Higgins are in the sally port for a mysteriously long period of time. They're not going to believe that the woman retracted it, Dever. They're not going to believe it. They believe her first unfiltered testimony. Because later people filter their stuff. But initially, they tell the truth sometimes. And she did. She accidentally completely annihilated the prosecution's case. And thank you for that, Ms. Dever. We appreciate your service to the people. And you're probably not going to hold that job for very much longer once Karen gets acquitted. But that's a you problem, and nobody cares. So, Barros... I'm worried about Barros because I don't want... if you guys have seen the movie Serpico with Al Pacino, a phenomenal movie, but I won't spoil it. It's just a really sad ending. I hope they don't Serpico Barros. You know what I'm saying? Because he might need to go look for a new job soon. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. These cops are ruthless.
To you, they then went inside the house.
What do you mean by spoke to me?
After they introduced you introduced yourself to them, they went into the Reed house,
Yes.
and then they came out.
They came out much later.
And that vehicle was towed.
Correct.
At no time from when you got there until you left did you see anybody from the state police in any way tamper with that vehicle, did you?
Not then.
I did not.
Later.
When the vehicle was towed, you know how long it took to take the vehicle from Dighton back to Canton?
How long?
Yes.
I do not.
You didn't escort it back.
I did not.
You had an opportunity to write a report in this case, didn't you?
I did.
And when you did, you had an opportunity to describe the damage to that taillight in any way you wanted to.
I did.
You could have gone into detail about size of the damage.
Yeah, but who cares about damage to a taillight at the time that you're towing a vehicle? Nobody cares. It became relevant later, but let's see where Brennan is going with this. We got about a minute left.
Could have.
You could have gone into detail about the shape of the damage.
I could have.
You could have gone into detail about the width of the damage.
I could have.
You could have taken photographs of the damage if you wanted to.
I could have.
In fact, there was no limitation on what you could have written in your report regarding the damage, was there?
No.
You write reports regularly, don't you?
I do.
You're trained at the academy. It's the best way to memorialize events.
Correct.
Because in time, your memory is not always as good later on than it is at that moment.
Correct.
At the time, I did not find the damage to the taillight of any significance because I didn't realize they're going to pin it on the girl, counselor.
What might be important or remarkable later might not be remarkable at the time you're making the observation.
Correct.
So you're taught at the academy to use as much detail as you can so that you can have an accurate memory later on.
Correct.
Because oftentimes, well, you respond to a number of different events and incidents, don't you?
I do.
You write a lot of reports.
Not necessarily now in this position that I'm in, but
I know there's a short clip. We're not going to play it today. This concludes Nicholas Barris's testimony. By the way, don't forget to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel. But I do want to say this. There's a video that Brennan plays for him, and I've seen portions of it, and you're more than welcome to go and find it. But essentially, Brennan tries so hard. The reason I didn't include it is just it's a waste of your time, trust me. Because Brennan just tries so hard to, like, find an angle, find a way, like, yeah, that taillight looks like it was, and Barros is just like, no, it was exactly like I said. It was intact, and now it's not. That's it. And Brennan was just defeated. So defeated. It was amazing. Again, like I said, there's no point in hashing over it. It's fairly boring. It's entertaining, but it's boring. I wanted to give you guys the meat, as always. Son's the potatoes and the salad. And we're going to do the doctor next. And tune in. So I originally said Thursday, so tomorrow, because today's Wednesday, June 4th. Tune in to Melanie's channel. It might be Friday now. I don't know yet. So we'll see. We'll see. Schedule is shifting potentially. Not guaranteeing it. I will know. By the time this video airs, I will know the answer. The problem is I'm recording this video earlier on Wednesday, so I don't know what's going to happen by the time this video premieres in several hours. But tune in. Be on the lookout. I have some fun stuff in store for you guys. All right. Bye, everybody.